let Betsy know.
We can do.
I'll quickly review the agenda. We'll have previous minutes, student and school presentations, parent groups, open to the public, 3 minutes per speaker for no longer than 60 minutes. We'll have our superintendent's report, our correspondence and board comments. We will vote on the BOCES budget. We will also vote on the BOCES candidates. We will then have our personnel agenda, the consent agenda. We will have a second executive session, and then we will motion to adjourn the meeting. We have a motion for previous minutes.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the previous special meeting held on Thursday, April 3rd, 2014.
Second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion for the second set of minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes of the previous regular meeting held on Monday, April 7th, 2014.
Second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we have any students or school presentations tonight? Any parent groups? Open to the public. Who would like to speak first?
Good evening. Kenya Gadsden. Just wanted to invite everyone out to the Parent and Guardian Workshop at Roundbound Middle School on Thursday, April 24th. We do have 3 different workshops that will be running concurrently. One is on castle learning, done by Mr. Glenn Morris. Another one will be cyberbullying, bullying, and internet safety workshop by Ms. Hamali Gandhi. And we have athletics in the middle school, done by our very own Mr. Eric Romanino. And then to end the night, we will have a PTO meeting by Ms. Kim Lennon. So the event starts at 6 o'clock. We head to the cafeteria. We do a meet and greet from 6 to 6:25, and then the workshops go from 6:30 to 7. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Frank Bug, Chairman, Beacon Committee for Diversity. Was here at the November, the April 7th meeting, which time I raised some concerns about issues of diversity and minority hiring. At that time, I thought I had some assent from Melissa in regards to the importance or significance of this effort, and the fact that it would be placed in a priority, or at least some action would be taken. So I'm here tonight on behalf of that committee to ask those questions relevant to that. First of all, has Melissa and the board done anything in terms of preparing a plan to address this issue of diversity?
In the past 2 weeks, no, Mr. Bug, we have not taken
Has any
action.
discussion of it occurred?
Yes, there has been discussion.
Is that official discussion or just off the record discussion? Has the board itself discussed this formally, or is this something that's happening?
We have not had a special meeting, no, Mr. Bug. We have not had a special meeting in this time. Currently, the board is focused, truly focused, on the passing of the budget and on gathering information toward the budget. You know that I truly support and believe in what you stand there for tonight, and that this board agrees with me that the action must be taken. But right now, we must concentrate on the
Has
passing
the board
of this
given any
budget.
indication as to when it will take this issue up?
We have not set a date.
Do you have any idea when you're going to get this subject? In the meantime, the reason I'm asking this question, because I'm seeing personnel lists where you're continually hiring people. I understand that you also might be having some coming vacancies in the instructional staff, or already do, and stuff, and all this time, no minority candidates or none have been hired. And you're continuing to repeat the same mistakes of the past. And that's what my concern is. I understand the budget is a priority, but so is this. This has been going on for over 50 years. The most poignant memory I have of growing up in this city is going through this school system for 13 years with never seeing a minority except a janitor. And it's almost the same now. And you are going to have to take this issue up and give it some priority.
I'm not going to contradict anything that Melissa said. I would agree. Your budget's at a top priority. The teaching positions that you're referring to, we haven't posted yet, so they're, I think...
will they be posted?
They will be posted.
Will
but
they
I think
be asked,
prior to doing any of the interviewing or the posting...
Will they be advertised publicly?
They're
Or will they
always
just be
advertised
put on the board?
Right.
No.
Huh? Which?
Yes, through OLAS. Most significantly, they will be posted through OLAS, the online, what are the? Application system that's used throughout.
See, that's worthless because most people don't even know about that system. I mean, why not? What you say in your recruitment statement that you're going to put them in papers, you're going to use the media, you're going to contact minority schools that have
That's what I'm referring to. So what we can do is prior to posting, we can come back and we will notify it at one of the meetings prior to posting how we're going to go about posting the position.
What are you going to do about the positions you're hiring? Do you have any minority candidates? You just met on how many last week in personnel? None of them were minorities, Hispanics, or blacks, or Asians. All were white. You're going to do the same thing in the closed meeting again tonight. All of whom, I presume, will again be white. So, this whole issue is standing still. You're considering it for the future while you're loading up the staff with more whites. In a school system that is now 53% black and Hispanic, and that only has, 8 out of 250 teachers and instructional staff? Please. Now, we've made a commitment not to... Yes, sir, Mr. Cohen.
Mike, would you please be kind enough to explain to the general public as well as Mr. Buggs so that it's clear for everybody really in the audience what OLAS is and who applies to OLAS?
Well, it may or may not be true that the general public is not familiar with the online application system, but individuals who are seeking jobs in the field of education, and certainly in this area, are very much familiar with it. It's one of the primary search engines, not only for individuals who wish to post their resumes for individuals for hiring school districts, but who are hiring school districts to look at this clearinghouse and to identify individuals that may appropriately fit their needs in terms of certification areas and experience. So it is widely used by virtually all school districts in certainly this part of the state, and I would imagine other parts of the state also, but I'm more familiar here. So it's race neutral. It's not.
That's perfectly fine, and I'm sure it's probably a fine system. But at the same time, when I went over to the administrative building and asked them about why there were no postings or advertising or whatever, they didn't mention the system to me.
I know, Mr. Buggs, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because
Yeah,
I was afraid you're not getting the information clearly.
Well, no, and the reason I'm not getting it clearly is because the staff is not giving it to me.
I understand
That's what I'm
that.
saying. They tell me that they post the job vacancies on BOCES.
Well, we do it
That's
as-
what she told me.
I
She didn't
understand
mention
that.
this system.
I apologize.
So while I know what it is, what I need you to do, Mr. Cohen, is to make sure that the human resource people over there, and you as a board member, step up and make sure that this issue is done with.
OLAS is run by Putnam Northern West.
Yeah, I apologize for the lack of clarification. OLAS is part of Putnam, Westchester, BOCES. it is a division of that BOCES. I guess people in the academic field assume everybody knows academics and what goes on behind it. OLAS is part of BOCES. So when we say we advertise it on BOCES, I guess it's assumed in this field that it means OLAS, and I guess maybe the mistake that was made with you was it wasn't clarified that it meant OLAS, and that's the online application system. Just for your reference, so you're clear and understand this, and maybe it will satisfy you a little bit better. If you do go on to the Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES website, it talks about OLAS, that it has over 80,000 candidates and it serves over 300 school districts in New York State. That's about 40% of the school districts in the state. I brought it up because it was obvious to me that you weren't getting the proper message about where we advertise it. Whether it satisfies you or not, that's a separate story, but I wanted to make sure that the information that we're giving you is accurate.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's a little bit more informative.
Well, it is. It's certainly appreciated, and now that I know about it, I will address it. But a more important issue,
I hope so,
is not for me in this system and to get me informed about it, is to let people out there know that jobs exist in this community which you're going to be filling. That's more important than telling me about OLAS.
That's what OLAS is for.
No, it isn't. That's for people who want to put their resumes out there.
That's for people looking for jobs.
Yeah. Do you advertise your jobs on that?
Yes, yes, we do.
Yes.
We post all of our openings on OLAS.
And any other way, do you do any of the other things that you use in your recruitment statement?
That you have to speak to administration.
You're a member of the board.
Pardon?
You're a member of the board.
But I'm not involved in the actual hiring.
No,
The board
I know.
sets policy. We don't handle the day-to-day administration.
Exactly.
That's,
But as
you'd have to ask
policy,
administration.
as policy people, you also have to be concerned about what policies you set. Are they being enacted? And so for that reason, I would want to know. But it says, in recruiting and selecting personnel, the superintendent of schools shall ensure that recruiting strategies include colleges and universities that graduate a diverse population of potential applicants, and use of advertising media that reach a diverse population of potential applicants. OLS might be a nice system, but if they don't know about it, it's worth nothing. If you don't let people know that there's jobs out there that are existing, like all of these that you filled over the past, you won't get any minority applications because nobody knows about the position. And they just tend to get filled by whoever is in the human resource office. Let me ask this. Who does hire new teachers? Who has the final say on the new teachers?
Recommendations, depending on the position, the recommendations work their way up, and then ultimately they come through my office.
From what?
Well, so for example, if there was a position in the high school, the principal or potentially sometimes a committee would be involved in the interviews. Depending on the number of candidates, they may also go through the assistant superintendent's office.
Okay. I want to make sure you're aware that I intend to be on top of this. Our committee will be as well. In addition to that, though, we are going to take on our own the opportunity to send out notices to various colleges and organizations, letting them know that the Beacon City School District is interested in increasing the store of minority applicants for positions that exist here, and ask them to send those resumes directly to me, which I will give so that I know exactly how many minorities you have had apply, where, when, and if they're being considered. That's number one. Yeah, I've heard you comment about that before, but I'm not listening to that. We are also, I'm sure you realize, we know that you've got a budget and a very tight situation in regards to that. So our committee and majority of the members have not wanted to fulfill our promise to vote against this year's coming budget. So that will not happen, but I do want you to know that there are other methods and other measures that we can take, that we will be taking if we don't see some action fast. I would like to leave with one stated preference at this point. I would like to see this board take a statement and vote on it that says we are committed to increasing the diversity of the Beacon City School District's instructional and supportive staff. Because if you don't make this statement and this policy, you're not going to be able to force a principal to do it, or somebody over in human resources or wherever. The board has got to make a commitment to let others know that you're serious, and that includes me. Let me know that you're serious. Otherwise, I'm going to proceed legally and try and force the board to do this. So, if you have any questions of me or comments that you would like to make, I'd certainly clear. But I just want to make sure you're aware. We're not waiting. I'm tired. We're frustrated by this because we just don't see any interest on the part of an all-white Board of Education to do anything about hiring minorities. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Yeah, me.
I'm not one with mics, but I'll use it since that's what y'all need. I think maybe that you're not understanding is that Mr. Bug is saying that if you have jobs out here that's going to open up, then to be sending it to BOCES or whatever, why aren't we sending it to colleges that are either diverse or black colleges or whatever other colleges there so we can have that? Now, I was born and raised in the city. I grew up with white teachers, but what I loved more was when I saw somebody that looked like me, that may understand some of the problems that I might have been going through as a little girl. So what Mr. Bug is saying, this is what we need, and I truly feel that we need it also. My kids all went to school here and graduated, and yes, we have had some diversity in this school district, but we have not had enough. We need it. It's not all about black folks. It's about everybody. Children need to see somebody that look like them. Plus, if you want parents to be more committed, to come out, to help the school, to do whatever, then you have to give these parents somebody that they feel they can communicate with. A lot of the teachers in this school district, I didn't have a problem with. They may have had problems with me, but I didn't have problems with them until they understood where I was coming from. But the point here is that we have a lot of young ladies in this school district and a lot of young men in this school district, and they have children that's going to be coming to this school because a lot of us know that they dropped out because they were having babies, or the young man may have left for whatever reason, and a lot of them end up in jail, and it's not right. They need to have something to look at. They need to know that they could come into this school district and be able to communicate. Because these young kids, and that's what you're dealing with right now. You're not dealing with me. My kids are grown. You're dealing with young people that are coming into this school, and a lot of them won't even come back to school because they don't feel none of you can understand what they're going through. So we need that. So these applications, if you have other teachers that are leaving and you have jobs that are opening up, instead of giving them a janitor's job so they can sweep up your trash, give them a job. Give them something to look at. Give them somebody to look up to. That's what Mr. Bug is trying to say. Now, I don't know if y'all didn't understand him well, but God knows I hope you understand me. And as far as the hiring, You're the superintendent. I thought you did the hiring. I
No,
thought
I just
that.
said they go through my desk.
Oh, okay, that's what I wanted to know, because he didn't get that answer. You know, you was talking about a principal.
No, I was just explaining the process, but
Okay.
they go through my desk,
All right.
and then I recommend.
That's what I wanted to be understood, that you
Yeah.
know that he's the one who does the hiring. So I'm just trying to open that picture up. I get really bothered when it comes to the children of this community. I get real bothered. I do not like the fact that we have young people in the streets dropping out. They're pregnant. I haven't heard anybody say how we're going to get them back into school. These young ladies need to know that if that man don't hang around, guess what? If you get an education, you can move on. I had a husband. My husband worked hard. He went in the service for this country, and my husband had a car accident, was paralyzed from the neck down on a respirator. And my babies were 4, 7, and 9. And if it wasn't for the community to help me, I don't know if I would have made it. I don't know. So I do believe that it takes the village. But this board and this school district, we need to step up, and we need to stop coming up with excuses and not having answers. This man has been here 2 weeks ago. Y'all should have at least had an answer. So that's what I'm saying. Now, I hope that you got the whole picture. If not, we can come back and give you the picture and make it a little bit bigger. Oh, my name is Yvonne McNair.
Dennis Pavelak, Beacon resident. I know this is the time of year for some school districts to have class trips, field trips to different areas of New York State. Even less smaller trips by just coming to school on a bus from their house or from a school bus stop. Do we as a district have students that have the know-how and or the ability to know when a student is having a seizure, knows what to do? And I'm not talking about the EpiPen in the leg. I'm talking about, do we have students that know what to do when another student falls down and starts shaking and has their tongue in the back of their throat and the nurse is not around? The nurse has the day off. Do we know what to do? Does the students know what to do? Any student know what to do? Does any student know how to set a splint, tourniquet, just until medical help arrives, get the person stable? Any field trip, anything can happen. Bus driver could have a seizure on the way to the school. Do we have a student that can safely steer that bus not into head-on traffic? Hopefully off the shoulder or somewhere safe. Question number one. Kind of a two-parter. Three-parter, what do I want to call it? My second concern is about Common Core. Excuse me. My favorite subject, Common Core. Some teachers and some parents are still wondering why their first graders are being required to learn about Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, and Kuwait, when most 7-year-olds don't even know to find their way out of their own neighborhoods. This is what Common Core is asking, folks. Just so you know, in case you didn't know. One parent wanted to know why their 5th grade son had to memorize the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights before he even studied the U.S. Constitution. Well, I tell you, I was at the St. Patrick's Day parade back in March in Wappingers, and all the politicians walked by, and all the politicians heard one voice really, really loud. Can you guess who that voice was? No more Common Core because it's rotten to the core? That's what they heard. I don't think the governor understands either or hears us as well. A poll come out on TV. He's leading Rob Astorino 58% to 28%. That's 30 points. You think that 30 points between now and November will close the gap? Because I was just asked yesterday to be in a phone bank before this election. County by county, neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street, and block by block. We will get people that don't understand what Common Core can do to students, what Common Core is doing to students, and they will hear me. They'll hear me real loud. So, I know Common Core is costing our district $176,000, and like I said at the last meeting, I don't believe we're looking at our students learning. We're looking at the dollar signs in our students' eyes and our students' foreheads. It's wrong. It's a mistake. And I think there was a question 2 weeks ago about how to grade students for backing out of the Common Core. I don't believe we have to give them a grade according to the changes that come out. It's supposed to be not tested, and that's it. I don't know if that's got changed, got teased or not. I know you weren't thinking, you weren't knowing what to do with the students not being tested. When the parents send a letter, and that's all it's supposed to be, it's not tested. However, that's my concerns tonight. So, thank you, and see you in 2 weeks, folks.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Thank you. Your report?
Okay, in a moment the board's going to be asked to vote on the proposed budget. I did want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Corderoni for all of her work in helping me to prepare the budget, as well as the administrators and directors. It's been an ongoing process for the last couple of months. A quick reminder, we do have the musical coming up this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know we have great parent support, but I would encourage everybody to come out and join us. And then lastly, Mr. Mulhern and I have been working to get a presenter to come out, perhaps, I think, in the month of May to talk about the disproportionality issue. So if not in the month of May, hopefully certainly before the end of the school year. That's it. Thank you.
Do we have any board comments tonight? We'll move on to the BOCES budget.
Do a motion?
Well, I'm gonna, yes.
Motion to approve the Duchess BOCES administrative budget in the amount of $4,233,350 for the 2014-2015 school year.
Second?
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Does that require a roll call? No?
Usually Bill addresses this.
Candidates?
Yeah.
Okay. You usually address it?
Yeah, because he goes to the meetings.
Well, not that those candidates are ever at those meetings.
No, but you usually
Yeah,
make the recommendations.
I would just say that, I mean, you know, my opinion, certainly Mike Reel, who has been on this board in the past and served the district well. Also, his background is he was for finance at a school district, so he certainly is well versed in education, and so I would certainly recommend him. Thomas Hurley, I'm also familiar with, and he's actually come to our done some work with our board in the past as well, and so I think he's a fine candidate. Those are my opinions.
And they're both incumbents.
Yes.
So may I have a motion?
Sure. Motion to vote for Michael Reel as trustee of the Duchess BOCES Board of Education as attached.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and motion to vote for Thomas Hurley as trustee of the Duchess BOCES Board of Education as attached.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, Bill.
I have a motion for the personnel agenda.
Motion to approve the personnel agenda items A through H as attached.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items 14.02 through 14.07.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion for executive session?
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual, and the board is not expected to take action after executive session.
Second.
Comments or questions?